The following program is rated TVMA. It is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Phantasm Spotlight. This evening, fantastic guest, Greg and Kathy Feketik. They are from the Tri-C Ghost Hunters, as well as other things, and one of them that we're going to be talking about is a convention that is going to be coming up. So, Greg, I know tell me a little bit about how things came to be for you for Tri-C, because both of you, and this is something that Kathy had pointed out earlier, both of you are co-founders of the Tri-C Ghost
Yes,
Hunters.
right. Yep. Um, I'll try to make this short, and if I miss anything, Kathy, just jump right in.
Oh, well.
I started investigating in 1991. I met Kathy in 2000, and we got married in 2002, and that's when we did our first investigation together. Uh, so her first investigation was in 2002, and then we wanted to branch out, so we joined another paranormal team in 2005, and we stayed with that team for about 7 years. And then a bunch of us left it, and we decided to form a new team, and that team was Tri-C Ghost Hunters, and that was formed in 2013. Now we call ourselves Tri-C because at the time we had three teams in Ohio. We had a Cleveland team, we had a Canton team, and a Columbus team,
Mm-hmm.
hence the three C's. Well, since then, we've combined the Canton team with the Cleveland team, and we've added a Cincinnati team. So we cover the whole state of Ohio.
Oh, wow. Hey, curiosity, and I've got a lot of questions, and some might be relevant, and some might end up being not relevant. Does it keep you busy doing investigations and doing that kind of work?
Kathy?
It can definitely keep you very busy. It, you know, we do a lot of in-home and business type of investigations for Tri-C. And that involves, a lot of, I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say here. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It keeps us busy as far as being able to help people in their homes or their business to feel more comfortable in their surroundings. Because a lot of times when people reach out to us, it's because they're uncomfortable in their homes and they need to know answers, whether it's something paranormal or if it's not. Because they just want to know that they are not crazy. So we do keep very busy with it. We do not only the investigating, but as far as our team members, since we do have three different locations, we do a lot of networking between those three different locations, so that we're always up on the newest things as far as investigating.
Do you find I've got so many questions about this.
Hmm.
Do you find any particular something more common than not?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
What
And
is?
Greg, I'll let you take that one.
Most of the time, places are not hauntings, or there's no paranormal stuff going on there. We can find a lot of logical explanations. We did one house where she was actually running a daycare out of there, and she didn't like the basement. She had funny feelings in the basement, and she always had a feeling of being watched and stuff like that. So we went to the house, and when we went down to the basement, right away we knew what was going on. She had a gas leak. There was a natural gas leak in the basement.
Oh
So
my.
we're like, we got to get out of the house. So we got her out of the house. We called the gas company, and we waited outside until they came. And she had several leaks in the house. And so not everything is paranormal. A lot of times it's logical explanations. Most of the time it's like what we call high EMF, electromagnetic fields.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like we've done cases where people don't like their bedroom, or they'll, see things when they're laying in bed. And we measure EMF in milligauss. So generally anything over 2.0 milligauss, prolonged exposure can be harmful. And we've come across homes where they've had, 30, 40, 50, 100 milligauss right there in their bedroom where they're sleeping. That's constant. And that can really mess with people, paranoia, hallucinations, nausea, headaches, a wide gamut of physical things that can happen to you.
Yeah, there was one case that we had that there was a child that was involved, and of course, that we do immediately. We take care of immediately when there's children involved. And
Mm-hmm.
the child was experiencing all kinds of things at night, screaming out loud, and it was even the mother who was on the other side of the room. She was like seeing shadow figures and things like that. Well, as soon as we came into the child's room, we could feel the high EMF there. So, Greg brought out some of his equipment and determined that there was a cat fan that they had. It was a ornamental type of cat fan. And it was,
It was like 180 milligauss.
180 milligauss.
Whoa.
So, we told the homeowners, get rid of the fan and see if that works. And sure enough, they didn't have any problems after that. And those are the cases where there's logical reasons, and we do go in with a logical mind. We don't go in thinking a place is haunted. However, we have also come across those houses where there's no explanation for the things that are going on, and we have been able to help the homeowners and business owners with that as well.
I know in this instance, in this particular venue, to me, Hollywood has become horrible when it comes to paranormal material. Everybody runs around trying to do things, trying to elicit responses, tries to, and you find that they won't think logically, as I'm hearing that your teams do. You take the time to actually find out what is truly happening. You don't just jump to a conclusion and grab your little miniature tape recorder and going, are you going to talk to me or what?
Mm-hmm.
And I see a lot of that in other groups, if I can put it that way. I can't call them investigators because I don't believe that they really are. They're sensationalist at some point. And it's not to put the entire thing down, please. Anybody that's watching or going to watch, please understand. I'm a very open-minded man. I do a lot in my own life. It's why I wanted to talk with these two. But when you talk about an EMF meter, is that something that you use frequently? Is it one of your main tools that you use?
This is a very good question.
Yeah, yes, it is. No, I'm, there's a lot of entertaining shows out there that, I like watching, and movies. They're very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
But, actual paranormal investigating, it's not entertaining. It's most times boring. But as far as EMF meters go, we do use them mostly in the initial phases when we are trying to determine if there's logical explanations. Because the thing is, I mean, there's all this paranormal equipment out there, which is all great because, I mean, everybody's got their theories and everybody's developing different ways to try to communicate with the other side. Even Thomas Edison was trying to develop a device to communicate with the other side.
With his wife.
So, there's all these tools, but the bottom line is there's no proof that any of this stuff, if it lights go off or bells, that it's paranormal or you're talking with ghosts. Everybody's got their own theories, and some of that stuff can have logical explanations why it's going off, and other times it doesn't. So when I investigate, the only thing I really like is an EMF meter to check for high EMF, a video camera, audio recorder to document things. Just because a light goes off on a device in the middle of a room, it doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean that I'm talking with a spirit or a ghost or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I would like to add that I feel that our most important piece of equipment is us.
Yes.
We have all this equipment out there, and the equipment's fine and dandy, and sometimes it does pick up on things. You can't rule it out completely. However, you have to have it as a confirmation to other things.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a multitude of things going on at one time, and you've got your K2, and I'm sorry, that's a bad example, K2 going off, or some other piece of equipment,
like a REM pod, a K2, or a bunch of different things going off.
If they're all going off and you're getting these experiences, you're feeling things, you're hearing things, you're smelling things, you're what did I miss? Smelling, feeling, hearing,
seeing
things. Yes. And this equipment's going off. That's pretty good validation in my opinion.
Have you ever, and this I'm very curious about, simply more my own curiosity, I think, than anything. Have you ever caught things on a recording that you can't explain, that would answer you or would give information that could not have happened any other way?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that does happen. Yeah, there's two cases we can tell you about. One of them was an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. We were doing a private residence investigation, and they were having a lot of stuff going on in their house.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, when we were there, I did not like the house. I did not like how it felt. I just wanted to run out of the house screaming. And we actually captured a lot of evidence that night. We were having personal experiences. Kathy was in the basement, and she goes, if there's anybody here, can you cause something to fall over? Immediately something fell over in the basement. But up in the little girls' rooms, always seems like there's always a little girl involved. We had a couple investigators up there. We had a video camera going. And on the video camera, they're talking and they hear something fall behind one of the investigators. So they're like, can you do that again? And then shortly after that, one of the investigators, something pokes him in the back. So you can actually see him go forward a little. And he goes, whoa, it just hit me on the back. Then they get up and they're trying to figure out what fell. And as they're talking amongst themselves, we got this EVP, clear as day. It's an older gentleman just saying, how's it going? Really loud, really loud. And, when we heard that, well, we didn't hear it at the time, but when we went and reviewed our evidence, it was like, oh, it can't be real. I mean, it's just too loud and clear. But anyways, we brought it to our client. And she says her grandfather used to always say, how's it going? So we brought that recording to her mother and her uncle, and they both identified the voice as their deceased father.
Oh, my. And
with that in mind, we just told them, that's like, hey, they know you're here. You're scaring them. Can you please stop? They still live in the house. That was 18 years ago. They still live in the house, and they haven't had a single problem since.
Well, and there was another time that we got a really good EVP. It was at the Ohio State Reformatory. Um, we went as a team there, and most of the team left, and there was one, you break out into smaller groups.
Mhm.
Well, there was one smaller group that was left, and their recorder, the guy says, "What happened to the rest of our group?" And right after that, what did you hear?
They already left.
Yep.
These,
So they answered. They were kind enough to answer, so we did appreciate
And,
it.
and you know, a lot of teams do capture EVPs like that too, that are pretty amazing. EVPs are the most common piece of evidence that teams will capture.
Hmm. Yeah, and what's really interesting with those two is the majority of the time when you catch EVPs, it's when you're not trying to communicate with them.
Right.
and I found that to be true a lot in my own life, is that things are not always camera ready, so to speak.
Right.
Mhm.
It's the odd, small things that you don't think about, that you might not hear at the moment, but you go back and you review things, and it's like it's unmistakable, undeniable.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Do you, by chance, have a rough idea of how many investigations you've done?
Me, I've done about 350.
Whoa,
I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot. You
that's a
know,
lot.
some people will say, "Oh, I've been on 1,000 investigations." Well, how long you been investigating? I've been investigating 20 years. So you've gone on an investigation every weekend for 20 years. So it's yeah, it's
It
yeah. When people say they've been on thousands of investigations, I'm like, what? Did you start when you were 10? Did you do every weekend, or do you just go into a cemetery and it's like, oop, calling that an investigation?
Do you find, and there's other things that I want to make sure that we get to this evening. Do you find that you have to return to a location in order to continue an investigation? Like if you have to go back a second or a third time.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yep.
And
Sometimes.
that still counts as one case, correct?
That would be one case.
Okay. And
That's
this is,
one case. It could be a couple investigations.
mhm.
Because I mean, each time it's a different investigation, but it would just be one case.
Well, and there's also those times when we have cases where we do pre-investigations. So we go there just to check out the place and make sure that, it warrants a full investigation. And that's one case. That's one investigation.
And that's what I'm trying to. I don't want to say that I want to browbeat people or drive a narrative home or anything like that, but I'm trying to get people to see and understand a little bit more of what's happening in the world, more than what Hollywood might present.
Hmm.
Because a lot of people, before the movies came out, a lot of people weren't aware of who Ed and Lorraine Warren were.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
then you had The Conjuring that came out, and everybody was talking about Annabelle and all kinds of things. And I see a lot of it sensationalized. Very, very little, but at the same time, it's a movie. And I tell people that, look, they're trying to sell you a ticket to watch a movie, and they need entertainment value. Ergo, you might not get the entire facts of what is really going on. Have you run into, and this would be the last question that I ask about this, because I definitely want to talk about a couple other things. Have you run into anything that has spooked you, scared you, more than typical or normal?
Um, there was one house that scared me. There was one house that scared me, but before I get into that, most of the time it's not paranormal things. it could be birds or a raccoon or somebody else, or it's stuff like that will terrify you. But there was one house that I did not like. And we investigated that house. That was a location we probably investigated like 10 times.
Right.
Wow.
It was an abandoned house. The owners moved to California and they couldn't sell it. They couldn't keep any realtors in the house. They had to keep finding new realtors. So they asked if we can go investigate it. And we did. And we had a couple psychics in there too. And something happened in that house. In fact, the one night there were three of us. There was no furniture in the home. It was a pretty small home, and the three of us were upstairs in the second floor, and there were only two small bedrooms. That's all that was up in the second floor. And we're up there just talking amongst ourselves. All of a sudden, we just heard this woman just screaming at the top of her lungs coming from the first floor. I mean, just screaming. And we just, all three of us just froze. And I was like, well, we didn't have anything going at the time because we were taking a break from investigating. And there was, that house gave me bad feelings. It really did.
Yeah, you even called me one time.
Yeah, most of the time well, all the time I don't do any protection stuff. But that time Kathy wasn't with me at that time, and I'm like, hey, can you help me to protect myself? Because there's something about this house.
Yeah, you know pretty bad.
Sure.
Greg calls me and says, hey, I need you to do some protection on me right now. Tell me what to do. It's like, oh, you got some stuff going on, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah, but most of the time
Yeah.
stuff that doesn't it doesn't scare me. I mean, even people try to scare me and they can't.
This is the last question. I've got so many, and there's other things. Have you ever had to refer a case to a theological body, like a church or anything like that?
No.
No,
Not. Go ahead.
I was going to say, no, as a matter of fact, we used to get, people that would say, hey, I have demons in my house and so forth and so on. And we would go in there. And of course, there's no demons in the house or anything like that. So one of the things that we feel very strongly about is, even if we came across something like that, we are not qualified to handle cases like that. So we put it on our website that we don't do demonic cases.
Well, yeah, we had that on there.
That's right.
Yeah. We took that up because we got another
Yeah.
team within our team. But no, we've never have. Now we've had people. It's like if you do think that there is. I mean, we didn't think that there was.
Right.
But if you think that there is, I mean, we can't do anything. We haven't captured any evidence. There's nothing that would indicate that. But if you feel more comfortable, contact somebody. Contact your church. See if they can help you, because right now we're telling you we're not even getting anything paranormal. So we haven't done that, but we've never come across anything like that. Why does this thing keep beeping?
I want to say good because that helps, again, people understand not to jump to a particular conclusion.
Right.
I want to say okay, simply because theology today is not what it was 20 years ago. You go back to when any of the three of us were younger, and it's a very different world now. Okay, I need to segue from this into something that has massively caught my attention, and we wanted to talk about it, is you have this event coming up. Tell me a little bit about this and what it is and what anybody might be able to expect, if you would.
Okay. You want to take that one?
Go ahead.
All right. We do an event at the Ohio State Reformatory called ParaPsycon. ParaPsycon is short for Paranormal and Psychic Convention. This will be our 6th year doing the ParaPsycon, but it is our 8th year doing events like this. Now, what this is, it is basically a 2-day event. We do have on there May 16th. May 16th, we have a kickoff party. And what this is, it is an event at the Ohio State Reformatory where we have about 100 different vendors, all different kinds of vendors. We have paranormal teams, we have authors, we have people who sell crystals and jewelry and candles and soaps and shirts and bags and horror stuff and
We have
Reiki healers, a lot of psychics and tarot readers. And we have special guests. We have about 22 special guests.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Because I looked on your website and I wanted to display it for people so that they could see some of the guests that you are talking about.
Right now, if you go to the page that says special guests and speakers, if you scroll up, special guests and speakers, and then click, and then just special guests. See right there.
You know, one of the things while you're scrolling through that,
and then that'll give everybody's names of the TV shows that they've been in. But we also have speakers. We have food trucks. We have some like sweepstakes going on where people can win some cool prizes.
escape room.
Oh yeah, we're doing an escape room where we're selling raffle tickets, where you can do escape room with some of the celebrities.
What is that, if I can ask?
An escape room. It is. We just opened up the ones in the Ohio State Reformatory, and what it is, you're put in this room. So they have one called Escape from Shawshank, and there's like 2 or 3 rooms, and you have to find clues to get out of each room and to escape from the Shawshank prison.
Oh, wow.
And for those that don't know, it's called Escape from Shawshank because the Ohio State Reformatory is where they filmed
It's one of my
Shawshank Redemption.
favorite movies.
So you're locked in this room and you have to find clues all over the place to help you get out.
Oh, wow.
So
now,
And the escape room with the celebrities, it's the celebrities and 6 other people, correct? No, how many? 4? This is why I referred to him.
So there will be a total of 2 ticket winners for each escape room. Well, for each time we're doing 3 of them, you can pick from 3 the different groups of celebrities, and you'll be teamed up with another couple of winners, so there'll be 4, and then there'll be the 2 or 3 celebrities that will be in there with you, and you all have to work together to get out.
So you're there with 3 other people and the celebrities. That's quality time with those celebrities and just having a great time. So that's one of the raffles that we're doing is the escape room. It's something I wanted to add too. We're talking about it being at the Ohio State Reformatory and everything. It's all of the money after expenses gets donated to the Ohio State Reformatory. It's actually the Mansfield Reformatory Preservation Society for the restoration and upkeep of the building and everything. So we do put on the convention. However, we do not keep any money from this at all. It is all to go back into OSR to help them to maintain the building. Like, for example, right now, they need a new roof. It's going to be over $1 million to repair this roof. So they need the money. So we're there to help them.
Right. Now, Kathy and I, we are the organizers of the event. We have our own business called Black Shamrock Events. That is the organizer of the event, but our team Tri-C Ghost Hunters are the hosts. They are the ones that actually do the event. So they're all there and they're all working with their bright lime green shirts on. So
Yeah, a lot
Wow.
of people think that it's Ohio State Reformatory putting it on, but it is not.
no, Ohio State Reformatory does not put it on. It is Black Shamrock Events and Tri-C Ghost Hunters.
I noticed on the ParaPsycon website that you have a celebrity ghost hunt, and I'm saying celebrity because those are the guests and the people
Right.
that are going to be on stage or featured speakers and things like that. Do you have a finite number of how many you will have available to the public?
Yes, we cap it at 80 guests. So we do not go over 80 guests unless we have some special guests or something like a sponsor that's like, hey, I want to be part of the ghost hunt. But it's 80 paying guests that are part of that,
Mm-hmm.
and that almost sells out every year. So
Yes, but when they get in there and they start to investigate with the celebrities, it breaks down into
Groups
groups
of
of
20.
20. So it's not 80 people investigating
At
at
one
one time. It's 20 people going to the different celebrities and investigating with them.
And what she means by that, so it's a two-phase investigation. So the first 2 hours, you're in a group of 20 people, and we'll have celebrities stationed at 4 different locations inside the prison. And then those guests will be escorted to the locations, and they'll spend like 30 minutes with those celebrities, and then they'll keep rotating until they've hit all of them. And then after that, the celebrities will stay for like another hour where you can go talk with them, hang out.
Oh, wow.
And then after that, the guests can stay and investigate for another 3 hours in the building.
Wow. Now, is there anything that you want to make sure that people that are either watching or going to watch that they should know for this upcoming convention?
Yes. So, and especially if you've never been to the Ohio State Reformatory, basically our event is free. So you pay your admission into the Ohio State Reformatory, which is right now it's $30 for an admission. So if you went tomorrow, it would cost you $30 to do your self-guided tour, which includes the prison as the whole museum, and then we have on the Ohio Penal Museum, and then we have a Shawshank Museum in there, and then we have a North Central Ohio Industrial Museum. So basically, it's 4 museums that are included in your $30. Well, during ParaPsycon, you pay your $30, you get all your self-guided tour, plus then you get the whole ParaPsycon. 100 different vendors, the speakers, you can go talk with all the talent. And then we have some characters walking around, and it's just a really, really fun event.
Well, and the other thing too is you can get a weekend pass. That's the only time you can get a weekend pass there, at a discounted rate.
It's $50
for the whole weekend. And a lot of times what people do is they come in that first day, they wander around, they talk to everybody, they scope out all the vendors, they decide what they want to do. The next day they come back and they actually do their shopping because they've already scoped everything out and they know what they want. And the second day is just like a fun day of shopping.
You've got a person that's in the chat. Koby, Kobe,
Oh,
is saying and said, Greg and Kathy rock. I hope to be able to attend their huge event this upcoming May.
I think that's my nephew.
Because
that's my nephew. So he's been wanting to go. He lives in Missouri.
Oh, wow. Now that's actually out there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see the chat room, but that's what I'm thinking it is. I could be wrong.
For everybody, I was going to include the chat room in part of this show to be able to show people the chat room. And I used to work on computers in corporate America. And it was always keep it simple stupid. And
Yes.
I swore that I would try to do that because what we have right now is kind of elaborate. And all I could think was that I would go to pull up the chat room and it would crash everything. And I'm like, no,
Right, don't do
we're not
that.
doing that. We're not doing that. I want to segue from the ParaPsycon to talking about the Ohio State Reformatory because I've got so many questions that I want to ask about your experience there. And the first thing that I would ask, I don't know what a number would be. Have you done a lot of investigations at that particular site?
Yep, yes, we have.
We have.
In fact, Kathy and I first investigated it back in 2004. So,
Whoa.
and back then, when the first time we went there, I fell in love with the building. And I told her, I said, when I retire, I want to start working here. So I retired in 2011. 2012, we had a house built. And then both of us started volunteering there in 2013.
Wow.
And then 2019, I became the lead paranormal investigator there. And then 2022, you became the
Paranormal program manager.
So Kathy runs the whole paranormal program at the Ohio State Reformatory.
Oh my. I did not know that. I
So
read some
we
of your
keep you
bios
really
and some of the
busy.
things that were going on. I did not know that.
Mhm.
Is it, and here again, I'm excited because there's so many questions. Is it as haunted as people say it is?
Yes.
Definitely. Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm a skeptic on I'm not a skeptic of the paranormal. I'm skeptical of a lot of the evidence and experiences that people have because like I said earlier, there's a lot of logical explanations.
Mm-hmm.
But now I can't find logical explanations for some of the stuff that we have experienced there, but there's a lot of things that happen there that too
Mhm.
there is no explanation. I mean, we've seen things, we've heard things, we've both been touched. People have been physically scratched there,
Smell things.
smell things, phantom smells, the whole gamut. Doors slamming open and closing,
Everything.
cell doors slamming, people running, footsteps, voices yelling, screaming.
Orbs with your naked eye.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was there one night, where our old office was for. So I'm there for all the private ghost hunts. So our guests have their break room, and then right off that it was my office where I had a TV where I can watch all the security cameras, but it was in the kitchen. So one night I was in there by myself. I didn't have anybody to help me. Usually I have somebody there. This night I didn't, and all my guests were out investigating, and I'm sitting there on my computer working on ParaPsycon stuff. And in the kitchen, there was this. Oh, it was only in there for like a year or 2 years. A big commercial double door freezer. I think the only thing that was in there was a bag of blueberries and some chicken thighs. And I'm working on the computer, and I hear this noise, and I look over, and that freezer door is just opening and slamming just continuously on its own. It's like, oh, it's like I still remembered it. I still remember it. It was April 25th, 2023 at 10:25, May 25th, 2023 at 10:25 p.m. because I immediately called Kathy because I had nobody there to experience it with me. And I'm like, you are not going to believe what just happened. So you get stuff like that.
And that's what you had mentioned, and I've experienced in my own life is you can't make this stuff up. You could, and it would look like Hollywood. But when it happens to someone, and then it happens to you, but you don't have anything to capture that moment other than your own eyes and your own ears?
I mean, I wasn't investigating. I had no equipment going or anything. I'm just minding my own business, working.
Have people have people walked out from the Ohio State Reformatory because it has scared the hell
Oh,
out of
yeah.
them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I tell this story about those ladies.
Yeah. So there again, one night, I was working by myself. It seems I'm always working by myself. And I think there were about 7 guests that night, and 4 of them decided that they had enough, so they stayed with me, and we were watching their 3 friends, 3 women on the security cameras.
Okay. Okay.
And so we're watching them on the security cameras, and they're up in one of our most active areas, right? And you see them walking around, you see them going down the hall and going to someplace else, and then they go back down the hall and they go back into that one area, and there's no audio, but you can see that they just like all jumped and they just ran down the stairs, and we followed them. They ran all the way back to the break room, and they were like, "We are done, we're out of here," and they just left. All of them just left just like that. And I'm like, oh, great, because now I got to go up there and start closing up. So one of the things we got to do is go throughout the building and start closing doors, locking stuff up. So I'm like, oh, crap, I don't know what happened to them, but now I'm going to go up there by myself at 3 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, so nothing happened.
That reminds me of something else. Is there validity to what some people will say is the witching hour or a particular time frame in a night where things happen?
There are a lot of people that believe that.
Yeah.
I do not.
I don't either.
I don't either, because stuff happens there at 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Stuff happens all the time during the day, 10 in the morning.
No, it doesn't matter what time it is. If they're gonna come out and play because they want to, they will.
Yeah.
Bottom line, it doesn't matter what time it is.
Yeah, I'm too much. I'm a retired police officer, so I'm like, I don't have this wild imagination, but I'm very skeptical, very logical. So it's like, no, to me, there's no witching hours. Which would be, people believe it's 6, 9, 12, and 3. No, stuff happens there all the time. Like I said, when that refrigerator freezer door was opening, and it was 10:25. So, I mean, I've had stuff opening up happen at 5:30 in the afternoon.
Look at when I saw my apparition there. It was what, 7:30 at night?
Yeah, 7:30. So yes, apparitions and stuff. Yeah, that happens all the time.
Some of the tropes that I see, do you find there to be a validity from an investigator standpoint of salt as a blocking agent or other things like that?
That's a me question. You notice he deferred to me because like you said about the one house, he doesn't protect himself or anything. I do believe that there is validity to some of the protection measures that you can take.
Mhm.
But I also believe that there has to be intention behind those protection measures. And if you have the right intention and the belief, they will do the job that you hope that they will do. Does that make sense?
It answers my question really well. And again, I have my own beliefs. I'm very much like you. There are things that I believe to be true that I cannot prove. And I'm curious as to things that you may have seen or done in investigations that work or don't work, or nobody runs around with a little vial of holy water. I don't think that is part of your package.
Well, some do. Yeah, some do, and that's fine. So some people do want to protect themselves from a lot of things, and that's great.
And,
Uh-huh.
and it goes back to what I said about belief. If you believe it's going to work, it probably will.
Mm-hmm.
And I would agree with that. That's probably a whole nother show all by itself as to anything more in a spiritual realm or things like that.
Now, kind of going back to that a little bit, I want to expand just a little bit on that. Also, I've been in situations that if I'm, let's just say I'm wearing a protection bracelet, just to say that I'm
Mhm.
wearing a protection bracelet and I'm up in the attic and something decides it's going to grab me or something, that bracelet's not going to protect me from that. What I have found works better is setting boundaries with the spirits. What?
You catch me flat-footed.
What was that?
You catch me a little bit flat-footed on that, because again, my own personal history, what I do as a profession and things like that, and I don't want to intermix because I want to try to keep people focused. But setting boundaries with any entity, to put it mildly, to me is both a healthy thing and a correct thing. It's not to turn around, and I do not encourage anybody to go running around. If you think your house or your home or your business is haunted, you don't go running around trying to take care of things with holy water and a bunch of other things and
Right,
trying to pick a fight, because at that point I would almost guarantee you're going to have a fight.
right,
And again, it's the intention behind what these people are doing. You go poking and prodding at things as you really don't know what you're doing. You're going to get a response, and chances are you will not like it. That's my own personal opinion. When you tell people, let's an assumption just for a minute. Um, if you find that there is an entity in someone's home, do you try to set boundaries with that entity, or do you try to navigate a life around it?
well, we'll use that one house that Greg was talking about earlier. What we did, once we found out who it was, we set the boundaries by saying, they know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay for you to stay, but you need to keep quiet because you're scaring them. And it worked.
Yeah,
But it's not always a guarantee.
Right. And the theory is, I mean, obviously nobody knows what it's like, in the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
So, in this case, Grandpa, he was probably trying to let them know that he was there and that he was watching over them and doing things that were scaring them, just because he didn't know.
Right.
But once he found out that they did know he was there, and like I said, he stopped. And it's, to me, that's amazing because, I mean, we had a lot of experiences there.
Yeah, we did. Well, and then going back to, I think you said something about clearing a house or something. We've done saging before, but one of the things that we tell the clients, that is not a guarantee that that is going to remove any type of spirit or anything like that. It might calm things down for a while, but there's just no guarantees to be able to
Right.
remove anything.
And if somebody says that they can guarantee the removal of it, I would run the other way. I'd run the other way
Yeah.
because there's, I mean, how do you know? I mean, there's people that claim that they know what it's like on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But
Now,
we don't.
we've never tried to cross, well, I haven't anyway. I don't think anybody on the team has tried crossing anybody over either.
Yeah. But that's another story.
That's another story.
That's another episode.
Yep.
There's oh, I've got
Yeah.
a lot that is brewing. I want to go back just for a moment to the Ohio State Reformatory because that's where you have ParaPsycon going on
Right.
at the Reformatory itself. In previous years, have you had unexplained events happen during the convention that has caused a little bit of an uproar?
An uproar, no. But there have been things that have happened. We've had some vendors that report things that have happened, but nothing that's caused an uproar.
Right. I mean,
Okay.
little things.
Yeah.
And during the, the investigation, the Saturday night investigation,
They're
you
usual stuff.
have some experiences where, everybody in the group, is experiencing it, including our talent. So yeah, it's just one of those places that there's a lot of activity. Obviously, we can't guarantee that there's going to be activity, but almost everybody that comes there has something that they experience.
When you set up for the ParaPsycon, it is not like walking into a convention center where everybody's under one roof, same room, things like that. You are spread out immensely throughout the reformatory itself, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, we use one area. It's called the Central Guard Room.
Mm-hmm.
That's people that are familiar with it. It's a huge room, big glass walls. We use that area, and then we use an area called the East Diagonal, just offside, off Central Guard Room.
Yeah, you walk through Central Guard Room, way into the East Diagonal. So those are two very large rooms there.
And then the whole west cell block. We use both sides of the whole west cell block. It's
And
and
our speakers are in the west showers.
the west showers. And we use the bullpen too.
Yeah, that's right. We do.
So we use like 4 or 5 areas there. Yeah, and like you hit that right. It's not like convention center where everybody's in one big giant room and it's all nice. This has character. I mean, in fact, all of our vendors in the west cell block, they all have cells behind them. So they're in front of the actual cells. So they'll use the cells for storage, or psychics will use the cells in there. They'll put their table in there and they'll do their things in there.
I've actually seen Reiki healers do healing in the cells too.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's very unique location. Like I said, people have a blast there. You can win some cool things too. You can win a bunch of different private investigations at locations throughout Ohio. So we do a lot of we call them sweepstakes, but you don't have to spend money to buy a ticket. Let's put it that way. So we do a scavenger hunt. So we'll put things on different vendors' tables, and you'll get a play sheet, and you have to go around and follow all find all those things. Then you come back to our table, you'll get a ticket once you bring back your completed sheet, and we'll put you in a drawing. And
one of the other ones that we do too is if you buy anything from a vendor, for every $10 you spend, you get a ticket to enter into the raffle. So if you spend $20, you get 2 tickets. If you spend 25, you only get 2 tickets. So you might as well buy 30,
right,
or spend 30.
And those are the ones where you can win private investigations. So we've got different locations throughout Ohio that have donated free private investigations. So I think we have about 6 locations. So we give 6 prizes for those. And if you're going to buy stuff, you got a chance to do this. Oh, and I also forgot too. We also do a food drive and a pet supply drive too.
Really?
So everybody, it's all about giving. So everybody that brings in any food supply item, any pet supply item, you'll be entered. You'll get a ticket and be entered in a drawing for that too. And you know, a lot of members on our team. You know, we've written books. I make dowsing rods. We have one team member who makes paranormal equipment, and we'll just put a whole bunch of stuff in a basket. So, you know, it's sort of a thank you for donating things. So it's all about giving and giving back to the our guests and giving back to the community.
That's fantastic. I want to take just a moment and show people your website for the people that might run across this in Ohio. Do you travel outside of Ohio to do investigations to help people out?
Yeah, we have we've traveled to Canada. We've been to Indiana, Illinois, West Virginia, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, you know, all over. And some of those have been from private homes and businesses.
Right.
Wow.
And we
This,
don't get paid for this, and we don't charge. Yeah,
Okay. We don't charge.
we
for
don't
this.
charge for any of that.
and that's one of the things that really helped me along was that you are not trying to make a buck off of somebody's issue at hand. You're actually trying to help them.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Now, your website, if I'm reading this correctly, I don't have my glasses on, it's horrible, is tchOhio.org, correct?
Correct. Right.
Okay. Now, I did notice that, as you mentioned, you have a Cleveland team, Columbus team, Cincinnati. You have a team in Florida?
Yeah, we're just starting that team up. One of our Columbus team members moved down to Florida. Just so happens where my sister lives and where my daughter lives. So they're starting a team, Tri-C Ghost Hunters team down there.
Where would people, yeah, right here. If people are looking or watching, if you go to more, you can contact
Even on the
Ghost Hunters.
homepage, even on the homepage, the main page, we have a contact form if you scroll down. Right there.
Fantastic. It's
Go ahead.
It's the one thing that I want to try to get people to understand is if they are having an experience that they can't readily explain, first try to do some due diligence and try to look for obvious signs, issues that it's something mechanical or something that's going on. If you run into that problem to where you still cannot explain it, I do not encourage or advocate people to run around their house with a tape recorder trying to poke and prod, because I believe that will bring more issue. Whether it's a supernatural issue or it's because the people might spook themselves, again, intent in what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
So contact. These people are professional. They've had professions. They've moved into doing this very thing. Contact them. Be in touch with them. Ask them questions. And they're probably going to have a litany of questions for you also.
Yes, we do.
Which is good because it helps them understand what's going on, what might be going on, what might not be going on. Believe it or not, our entire hour is gone.
Yeah, wow.
Quick.
Is there anything either one of you would like to leave for people to think about before we wrap our show up for the night?
The only thing I can think of is if you haven't been to ParaPsycon, you really do need to go. It really is a good time.
Yep. And the Ohio State Reformatory come out there, and I always like to say this: not everything is paranormal.
I hope everybody that is watching or going to watch found some useful information here. I know that we're going to be doing this again, and I'm looking forward to it wholeheartedly. Thank you, both of you, for taking the
Thank
time
you.
to do
Thank
this,
you.
to sit down and to help bring some education as well as some insight into what's going on for people. Folks, until next time, I hope that everybody has a great evening, and we'll catch up with you again next time.